of poll saying that the Biden administration's approval rating of the handling of the situation is only 25%. Is the message being lost? What needs to happen?
Yeah. I just outlined, I think, a series of steps. They'll not just take, but actually amplify and make it clear and do them. Again, not just for weeks, not just for months, but for years. And the American people, a lot of people don't know what we're doing. A lot of people don't have any idea what the Alliance for Prosperity is and why it's relevant, why it's right. They don't know it's modeled after something that did work, Plan Colombia. We just have to explain it. And then we have to get some results.
Yeah, number 7 of your list was message.
Message.
Do you think the message is being lost?
Well, we've been focusing on COVID. The president's been focusing on. Oh,
Go ahead.
The president has been focused on getting our economy running again.
Get people vaccinated.
He's been focusing on saving lives by ensuring that we have vaccines for every American who wants one. We've been focusing on ensuring that we have testing available. He's been in office for 2.5 months. We are building this infrastructure because there was no infrastructure left from the previous administration. It does not surprise me that the American people does not know about the work that we have been doing in the region. It does not surprise me because I have been standing alone for the last 4 years, trying to hold those governments accountable, writing letters to the Trump administration, highlighting all of the issues that were happening there. It is not surprising that the people here don't know that we have 2 former attorney generals from Guatemala here as asylum seekers. Why? Because the strong man took over. Corruption took over in the region. Yes, messaging, we have to talk about it. But right now, in our communities, we're talking about saving lives, and that's what we have been focused on.
So I want to add something super quick. So what we have seen, unfortunately, over the last 4 weeks, for 4 weeks, the national media has been focused on, did Joe Biden being a nice guy cause this? I have been urging the national media to help us focus on solutions. Just a week or 2 ago, we had 18 senators parachute into a border community in South Texas. I urged the media to ask them, what have they done to bring forward solutions? And so we are going to focus on solutions. That's what every CODEL that members of the Democratic Party are going to have in El Paso, whether hosted by me or whether hosted by a colleague. Our focus is going to be solutions. And I agree with Representative Torres. You know, the president has been in office for a very short period of time. He had no transition. The transition for President Biden was an insurrection, an attack against the United States of America. After that, he was not able to quickly confirm his Department of Homeland Security secretary for a number of reasons. But we are here now. And I think it's a valid question. And I would ask everyone engaged on this issue, help hold us accountable by asking us what the solutions are. The solutions as laid out by the senator, the solutions as we have we're each bringing forward, because there's so much at stake for us as a country. There's so much at stake for our Western Hemisphere, and it is on all of us to make sure that we get this right.
Can I just add a couple of thoughts? Messaging. You turn on the media right now, the news, and you think this has never happened before. It happened under President Trump. It happened 10 years ago. These are still not record high numbers. But if you just focus on the moment right now, why is Biden a nice guy? Because he's following the law? Because he stopped family separations? I would say, Mr. Biden, you're deporting too many people right now. You're not reporting on that. Okay? That's not your message. But at the end of the day, myself as a legislator, I'm going to focus on the long-term solution. Senator Carper laid it out very well. Long-term solution beginning now. Thank you.
And why is that more effective as opposed to what the Republicans say it's soft? Why is care and compassion not only better in your opinion, but more effective?
Because it's the law. It's the United States law. It's international law. You don't separate children from their parents. That is unacceptable. We are doing things that are human, that are acceptable to our society, to Americans, and we are succeeding. But again, remember under President Trump, the attacks on the wall? Remember that? People trying to, have you seen that? So does that make President Trump a softie? Focus on the long-term solution.
And I think just a very quick response to that as well. So we saw over 4 years cruelty as a deterrent. It didn't work. It in fact made us a less secure nation. It eroded our American values, and it created the kind of chaos that makes the challenge even more difficult to address immediately. And so an approach that is rooted in our values, that takes the long view as well as the short view, really is what all of us deserve.
But going off of that idea of the long-term solution, Senator, as you said, you can't just treat the symptoms. You have to go outside of the United
I
States.
think everybody in the room probably agrees with that.
Right. But what we're hearing from Border Patrol is that the symptoms, to use your own analogy, are overwhelming right now. They need support now. They don't have enough manpower. They don't have enough resources. What do you recommend in the short term for them?
What we have sought to do is provide a relief valve. As children show up, take it into custody. CBP, they're doing work. They're not trained to do this stuff. They don't want to do this. They want to be able to turn these kids over to the Department of Health and Human Services, where they can be treated by people who are trained to do this for a living. As it turns out, one of the things we actually learned out today was rather encouraging, was the ability of the Department of Health and Human Services, through their own employees, through the folks, the entities that they're hiring, contractors, they're actually able to take the handoff of more folks from CBP more quickly than was the case a month ago or 2 months ago. We're actually making some progress here, and that's for me. I think that's encouraging. But again, that's symptoms. That's symptoms of the problem. I don't know. I've been in 20 years in the Senate, and governor and congressman and treasurer before that. I've been in a lot of hearings. One hearing I will never forget. About 2 or 3 years ago, early in the Trump administration, and we had the only Roman Catholic priest I ever remember being a witness. I don't remember. There have been a lot of hearings. We all had a Roman Catholic priest as a witness. And I thought, what is he doing here? And you know what? He told us this. He said, here's what is going on at the board. Here's what's happening. He said, think of a family in a house, their house, and the fire department. There's no fire in the house. The fire department comes to the house and starts a fire and leaves the house and locks the door behind them. And the priest said, this is what's going on. This is what this country is doing. We are complicit in the misery of these people down there, given our addiction to drugs. And we're not going to kick those addictions quickly. Drugs are trafficking through this part of the world. People are being bought and sold for drugs. The drug trafficking, it's just corrupting one country after another. Jimmy Morales, Juan Hernandez. And now we're seeing it with Bukele, which is unbelievable. I know them all. And I remember how promising they were when they were first in place. And they've been corrupted in an awful way. And for the last 4 years, we have not had anybody as an ambassador or in the State Department or the vice president or the president say, damn it, to these leaders down there, stop it. You got to stop. We're not going to tolerate this. And be strong and firm about it, and consistent day after day after day. That's what it's going to take. Leadership.
Let me just tell you directly on your point, enough personnel, okay? This is not new. I sit on Homeland Security. We've had hearings. How do you hire these officers? A lot of them can't pass the background checks. The issue of hiring people, we funded the positions. We're trying to fill them.
I have one question. Do you guys plan to, ask the president or the vice president to come to the border themselves now?
I have. And we've got to do this in Spanish. Your plan, Senator Norma, do you want to do it? Do you want me to do it? And then we've got to go. En español, el plan que nosotros todos apoyamos, primeramente necesitamos más embajadores. Por los pasados 3 años, muchos de estos países no han tenido embajadores para poder trabajar juntos en colaboración. Número 2, necesitamos invertir dinero, pero también necesitamos luchar contra y trabajar contra la corrupción. Vamos a necesitar un plan para eso. So let's see, you talked about ambassadors, about fighting corruption.
We can't do it alone, we have NGOs.
Tenemos que colaborar con otros países, no es solamente nuestra obligación. Tenemos que trabajar juntos con otros países. En el mismo modo que nos estamos involucrando en otros países lejos de nosotros, tenemos que trabajar con los países aquí que son nuestros vecinos y trabajar juntos. And what was the other thing, Norma? That you mentioned?
Home Depot, shop at Home Depot.
Oh, accountability. También tenemos que asegurar que la transparencia existe para nuestro plan. Y el senador nos dio el ejemplo de Colombia, donde nosotros trabajar con ellos es algo que sí se puede hacer y nosotros podemos ayudar. You all, thank you so much.
Can you confirm a federal grant, the $1.8 billion federal grant to house migrants and families in hotels? Can you?
I don't know how much it is, but the federal government is finally taking on the responsibility that local communities have taken on for decades.